Y'all, this might look weird to you, and I'll tell you why. I'm not in the bedroom this time for this week's video. I'm out in my living room, out where there's more air, there's more light. It's a little bit echoey, but we're just gonna work with it. So we're here to discuss what's happening with this week in books. So with this segment, I like to go over what I've been reading, what I finished this past week, and what I hope to start reading. I usually do these about twice a month, just so I have enough content in between, because sometimes there's a week that I don't really read that much. That really wouldn't make a good video in my opinion. I guess I could share that, but I'm usually on my other social channels saying what I've read or what I haven't read, but just nice to be able to get to you all and talk about books this way. I also am super excited because this week I am getting my hair done. So my hair is naturally curly, but I do straighten it out, and I blow it out myself, but I just need it to be thinned out. I have been trying to cut it over quarantine. It's been, I don't even know how long since I've cut it or have gotten it professionally cut, so I'm very excited. I don't mind wearing a mask while I'm doing it. It would just be nice to have somebody massaging my head and cleaning it and then just talking to them. Actually, I'm kind of the opposite. I'm not usually the talker in the chair. My hairstylist is, and I'm fine with that because I like listening. So it's kind of an interesting relationship we have, but I'm super excited to get that done this week. Anyway, probably not why you stopped by for this video. So let's get into what I've been reading. First book I finished this week is If Beale Street Could Talk by James Baldwin, and this I had purchased from Uncle Bobby's Coffee and Books over in Philadelphia during the Blackout bestseller list time. And I love being able to support any independent bookstore, but the fact that it was a Black-owned bookstore was even better. And this book was amazing. It's one of James Baldwin's best, as kind of represented on a lot of reviews and lists that I've seen, and I can tell why. The style, the writing is very moving. There's so much you can get out of the simpler sentences and the dialogue between the characters. So we follow these two young characters that met when they were young and grew up together and were planning to get married, but the gentleman was unlawfully arrested or arrested under false charges. And so we deal with a lot of racial injustice, racism, and they're in a poorer part of New York around Harlem. So what that means for them, along with the white cops that are in that area that have it out for them. So very interesting story. It's a short time period, and what's also in this time is she is pregnant, and she was pregnant right before he got taken to jail. So it follows kind of her through her pregnancy while communicating with him in prison. So like I said, very moving, very beautiful. I cried several times and was emotional, but a great read for sure. The next book I finished was an audiobook. I listened to Rodham by Curtis Sittenfeld, and this follows the journey as if Hillary Clinton did not get married to Bill, so she just remained Hillary Rodham, and what that career and her path looks like. And I found it super interesting because I didn't really know too much about her and Bill's relationship before in real life, and I think it did cover that based off the references that Curtis Sittenfeld talks about at the end of her book, of where she got a lot of her content and history. So that I thought was pretty fascinating to learn in general what they were like before that time period where they decided to get married. And then we take a whole different route. We know obviously in real life they get married, they have kids, and then they are in the White House. But what does it look like if that wasn't the case? So we go into a lot of political drama, a lot of relationships through many, many years into their 60s. So very fascinating, very comical, which I thought was good. It was in her perspective of Hillary Rodham. So if you're looking for some kind of political drama, it is a little bit light, but it does tackle some issues that we see in politics today. So I'm currently rereading Twilight by Stephenie Meyer. So this is in preparation for Midnight Sun, which is the prequel kind of, or new perspective of Twilight told in Edward's perspective. So that I think is gonna be super fascinating. I've reread Twilight several times. I read it first when I was in high school, and when I posted about this on social media, a few of my friends from high school were like, that's how our friendship started. So I thought that was really telling of how much of an impact this made. as I was growing up. So I'm listening to it on audiobook, but every time I reread it, I keep thinking about like, oh, that's not how they did it in the movie, which I've talked a lot about adaptations in the past, and it's fine. It's just really cool to be able to pick out what parts were different, what parts I liked in the book versus the film version. So I'm at the part now where they had just gotten dinner in Port Angeles, and she's asking all these questions about him being a vampire. So digging a little bit deeper and going to find out more about the family history. I also just started A Night Portrait by Laura Morelli, and this was sent to me as an ARC, or advanced review copy. This comes out in September, so a little over a month and a half. And this follows two different paths. It follows Leonardo da Vinci, back when he painted this portrait of this young woman who I think is a mistress of some kind of duke. And then it fast forwards hundreds of years to World War II, where this art historian, I guess she restores paintings in Germany, is learning more about the painting and trying to save it from destruction as World War II is happening all across Europe. So still early on. I love splitting the character perspectives as well as time and history. So it's a historical fiction, but I love how you throw in a lot of elements, because I was an art history major in college, so it's right up my alley. Plus I'm Italian. What else could you ask for with this kind of book? Up next, we have Chasing the Sun by Natalia Sylvester, and this is part of my Read Around the World challenge. So I have 2 this month. This one is set in Peru, and it is based off this woman who is married, and it looks to be that she's run away again from her husband, but it appears that she has been kidnapped. So it's about finding out what happened to her and during the political unrest in, I believe it's Lima, Peru. And I'm super interested because it's expanding my horizons, my cultural knowledge of different countries, and it's a thriller of sorts. So a little bit of intrigue thrown in there with some historical context as well as some cultural elements. And finally, I'm hoping to read The Grass Dancer by Susan Power, and this again is part of my Read Around the World challenge, and this is set in the United States in North Dakota. So we're following the Sioux tribe in that state, which is a Native American tribe, and we're seeing ancestors and how their lives and their personalities kind of flow down to their children. So I'm interested to see more about the tribe and learn more about customs that way, and a little bit more of like the mysticism and souls and spirits that are part of their culture. So there we go, quite an eclectic mix of books that I have read, I've finished reading, currently reading, and are about to read. And we are almost at the end of July, which is mind-boggling. I had told my friend, because she's the one who I got into Outlander, or the Outlander book series, that she's now surpassed me in the Outlander books and read through the currently published one, book 8, and I am still in book 6. So my goal in August, I'm saying it here so y'all can keep me accountable, is to finish at least 6 and 7. So that's A Breath of Snow and Ashes and Echo in the Bone by Diana Gabaldon. So that's the plan for August. I know that's still weeks away, but I want to plan ahead, and that's just my personality and my style. So there it is, locking it in right now. Those will at least be 2 of the books I'm going to read in the month of August. Anyway, I'd love to hear what you all have been reading, what you think of the books that I just listed. I'll list them all below in the description, as well as links to some of the things that I refer to, like Read Around the World, and the review I did on Rodham for Quick Lit as part of Modern Mrs. Darcy. If you like this video, please give it a thumbs up or comment below if you would like. Also subscribe so you can see other places in my apartment. Who knew that this existed based off the other videos that you've seen? And I hope to talk to you all later. Happy reading!